They said the truth won't survive beside the lies that maintain the decaying faces of display. Show Enough Rivals. Please support that. It's really gonna help me out. Support Show Enough Rivals on Kickstarter. And, let's prove that, we do a lot more than just talk about society and these issues. Hey, everybody, what's up? It's Hold the Truth Hostage, where if the truth was so important, we wouldn't negotiate with lies. Now, I'm on my way to the gym. You know what I mean? I'm about to start, shout out to the homies Black Scale and the homie Neo Wolf, you know what I'm saying? And QB and Caduceus, man. They're in the gym heavy, man. So I'm trying to, in fact, I'm not saying I'm trying to, because an older man told me you should never say try, so I'm going to be doing my best to get back in shape, so, and I might be coming out with a shout out to the homie Black Scale. Since he about to do some fitness, I might try to figure out a way the Casper pill could help you out with fitness, and I'll try to talk to the homie Black Scale and run some ideas through him. But let's get to what this video is about, man. This video is very simple. It's about something we don't talk about enough in the manosphere, and that's the perspective of your children. The perspective of your children, and why this is the leading reason why not only will less men get married, but why less men will actually get into long-term relationships to begin with. You see, now let's say before no-fault divorce and before the family court and its pure corruption, you used to have men getting married, or if they had a child by a woman before marriage, their long-term plan was to have a long-term relationship with this woman. Long-term relationship so the child could have a mother and a father. That used to be the plan. That was the long-term plan. So, the child will be guaranteed a father in their life and a mother. So if it was a boy, the child was a boy, he'd have an example of what a man is, and he'd have an example of what the relationship between a man and a woman was, and having a father and a mother, so he'd have understanding of an example of stability. But if it was a daughter, the daughter would have an example of the role a father plays in her life and what she should seek out in a man, so when she has children, she has a proper father figure for them. Then you would have the mother also, the daughter looking at the mother as an example of how the woman would behave around a future father for her children and the role she's got to play. But now that we have such a level of corruption, give me a minute. Now we have such a level of corruption that no child is guaranteed these two aspects in their life. And what's happening from the child's perspective, and I think a lot of men are thinking now, or they have to think about the child's perspective, So you bring a kid into this world, and all a man has to offer that kid. Of course, a man will work hard, will, do his job and his due diligence. But what's happened with the long-term relationship since about, I'd say, it was quiet, but since no-fault divorce was passed. Because if you watch you need to watch a documentary called Divorce Corp. It breaks it down that as soon as no-fault divorce was put into action in 1969, divorces skyrocketed. Now you gotta remember, this is 1969. Television networks weren't everywhere, so getting the news out there of the effect wasn't as adequate, So we fast forward to modern day, and what's happened in the man's eyes is the man is looking at it like this. I can have short-term happiness and long-term risk. Now let me repeat that. Short-term to temporary term happiness and long-term risk. That's what's happened with the relationship issue. So a lot of men are looking at it and saying, before no fault or as I call it, his fault divorce and the corrupt illegal family court, which operates outside of the law, men used to look at marriage and long-term relationships as a long-term reward. Now it's become a long-term risk. And what's happened is when you look at it from the child's perspective, here's where it gets far worse. So you bring a kid into this world, and all you can promise the kid is that you're going to put an effort. You're going to put an effort to raise and attempt to maintain stability for that kid's life, when in reality, that should be a guarantee. Unless you die by accident or, a murder case, that child should be guaranteed their mother and father. So that kid is raised in a stable environment. You know what I'm saying? So now that most men understand, and you gotta look at the kid's perspective, and look at the illusion that's placed on the child. So the child's born. Let's say the mother and father stay together for 5 years. So the kid's born, the kid's being fed, played with, both mother and father. Both the parents are telling the kid, we'll be together, the happy example of a family. And the child sees this. And let's say by the second year, another child is born, So now you have the pressure applied to the older child, that's the older sibling. Now that child is further into this illusion that he's going to have his family together forever. So now that older kid, that older sibling buys into it, because now he sees, oh man, have a younger sister or younger brother, this is gonna be a long-term thing, So the kid's living in this illusion. And the father, on the other hand, the father knows that this is a delicate balance, that at any time this long-term investment into a relationship could become a long-term risk. But the kid growing up, so let's say 5 years now, let's say the son, he's about 5 years old, his sister now is 3 years old. Then out of nowhere, a divorce or separation happens. Right then and there, after living 5 years in the illusion of stability. The illusion of stability. So now this kid grows up and can't believe anything. This kid can't believe anything stable can exist, because in his own household, his parents broke up His two parents that gave life to him broke up, and it got destroyed, that family structure. So now growing up, this kid can't believe in stability anymore. So the kid can't believe in stability anymore, and then takes out this aggression of disbelief in stability on society. You know what I'm saying? Takes out this aggression for growing up in an illusion that felt so real. And it was real. It felt so real that this kid would have both parents in their life, and they could be an older sibling. And I think that's a real thing that isn't talked about, is the side effects this has on the oldest sibling that has to, that lost their responsibility of being an older sibling in a family unit. Then when they lose access to both parents, they're thought to be more stable and still play the role of older brother, older sister, when they're dealing with such a mental breakdown of the family that they're no longer as stable. So to me, a lot of men need to start looking at the child's perspective, because what's happening, and you could see it in the birth rates are dropping at a phenomenal rate. And why do I say phenomenal? Well, what's happening is a lot of men in the United States are realizing that their biggest investment, their only investment in a nation that is worth the most, is their seed. So a lot of men are having what I call the silent and subliminal and subconscious protests. And that subconscious protest is that men adapting are not having kids at a far higher rate than ever before. They're not even trying to do it at all. And this is leading to a lot of lower birth rates in the country. They're starving the government for future taxpayers, future citizens, future soldiers, future nurses, doctors, you name it. A lot of men are having a subconscious silent protest, and they're not investing their seed into the society. That's the biggest investment a man could make, is investing their seed in the society. So a lot of men are stepping away from that, and this is leading to a monumental issue that's going to happen. Because the thing about the news is, when they cover it, they like to talk as though, well, the population isn't growing, there's a low birth rate, and they don't mention anything, because the news is all about anti-critical thinking. They're just going to bring up the population is decreased, or as they had on a previous memo, that men don't make enough money and don't deserve to be married. You know what I'm saying? There's no critical thinking behind it. So what's happening is a lot of men subconsciously are having a protest with their seed. And this is going to ramp up. And lead to an increase in the decrease of the population, because as more men grow up with the notion that, they shouldn't supply any seed to the society, they're going to openly talk about it. You're going to see men, they're going to be asked, hey man, don't you want to have kids in the future? And that man's just going to say, nah, not in this society, man. Not in this society. I would never bring a kid here. I'd never have a child in this system. Give me 1 minute. Yeah, not in this system or society. So you're going to have men openly. Before, you used to have men talk about it being bachelors. Oh man, I'm not prepared to have a kid or family yet. But now they're openly, and I've talked to many guys here and there where just the mention of starting a family triggers them to self-defense, to where, no man, I never have a kid. No way, man, never. You know what I'm saying? They're too expensive. They're cost too much. They're gonna leave me and all this. You see, a lot of men have internalized, especially if they've seen been a part of divorce or witnessed it, they've internalized to avoid it as a subconscious survival tactic. So these men are getting triggered when you mention having kids. But, that's a whole other video. But basically, man, if you think about the child's perspective, because a lot of men like to talk as though they're the ones that have been hurt the most, when in reality, the person that's been hurt the most is the child. One, the child didn't ask to be born, so you just bring a child into this world, and the child didn't decide the conditions, you did as a man. So you decided to bring this kid into something you can't guarantee, which is a family structure. So that's what's happening, man. A lot of men are looking at it and saying, man, the best thing I could do for my child, and you can watch a video I made called Fatherhood Funeral. Check it out, Fatherhood Funeral I made, where I explain that a lot of men are mentally having funerals for the children they would have had, as in they're killing that notion of having a child in their mind, so they never have to have it in the real world. So they never have it in the real world. And a lot of men are going through this phase and don't even know it. They don't even know they've had a fatherhood funeral. That's why I call the video Fatherhood Funeral. But they had a funeral for their future kids. You know what I'm saying? So they, in their mind, they killed it. So they don't have a child. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's happened, man. A lot of men are moving on and having, without knowing that they're having a fatherhood funeral mentally, subconsciously, where they now are, mentally existing where, I can't have kids. I killed that notion in my mind. And what you're going to see is it's going to speed up. It's going to increase the decrease of the population is going to increase, because I'd say in about 2 to 5 years, more YouTubers, more influencers that are men will openly talk about it. That, man, I'm not having children, man. No thanks. No thanks at all. It's already happened. Not having kids. No thanks at all. No thanks. So you're going to see that ramp up in influencers talking about it. Now, the women also are talking about it. They don't want kids, but the women not wanting kids is a whole different aspect. It's a whole different, different thing going on. It's a whole different notion behind that, because the women are reacting based on society's pressure applied to them. The notion of having children in this society currently to women is actually telling them they're losing something in their life by having a child. So there's a very different wavelength behind men and women not having children. But like I said, man, you as a man, you need to look at it, and and you're going to see that a lot of men are not having children because subconsciously they've had the fatherhood funeral. The fatherhood funeral is real. You know what I'm saying? It's true. In the words of Kurt Angle, it's true. It's damn true. You know what I'm saying? It's a black pill truth. It's a black pill truth, man, that a lot of men are having fatherhood funerals. But to me, you have to remember, think of the children, man. Can you honestly look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I'm going to bring a kid into this world, and I can't guarantee that they will have any ounce of stability in their life. I can't guarantee that, that they'll have a mother and father in their life till the age of 13. You know what I'm saying? Or till the age of 18 or 21. You can't guarantee any of this. So a lot of men are looking at it as, man, the only thing I can guarantee in my life with a long-term relationship is risk. Risk of losing, and losing a child, losing employment, losing your resources. It's become, we're in the age of the, we're in the age of the long-term relationship risk. Let me repeat that, long-term relationship risk. Now you're gonna have a lot of detractors. There's a lot of detractors, man, of guys in the manosphere. I call them EOMs, enemies of the manosphere. They're basically men that make videos where they demonize your logical choices because they believe that a man should suffer. They believe that it's illogical for you as a man to prioritize your health and your sanity and your well-being, which is the structure of a family. So I've been dealing with a lot of these EOMs, enemies of enemies of men, you know what I mean? There's a lot of manosphere, or enemies of men, enemies of manosphere, whatever. I've dealt with a lot of them, so you're going to see these guys increase also, because we're going to have an increase of pink pillars, which are men that are very feminized. I'm gonna make a video on the pink pillars again. I'm gonna cut off a clip of a video I made to explain it better. But basically, you're going to see this. There's going to be a rise of men that subconsciously have, had a funeral for fatherhood funeral, where it's not even an option. You know what I'm saying? Where just the mention of having children to them triggers a reaction, as though you're telling them to risk their life. You're telling them to, hang themselves, hurt themselves, And this is going to happen. It's going to increase. And unlike other countries, the birth rate in America is dropping, but it's gonna drop at a faster rate, because the way America works, the way guys share information, and the way guys are, unlike other countries like Japan, where the men aren't having children, they become herbivores or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They become more in a state of defeat. Men here, it's gonna become some type of, pounding your chest type thing, where, yeah, man, I don't have kids either, bro. I'm awesome. You don't got kids too? You're awesome. We're both awesome, man. We don't have kids. Word. Let's go to the bar and get a drink. All right. Or go watch a football game. Word. You're gonna see men in America celebrate it. You know what I'm saying? Unlike other countries that aren't gonna be celebrating it, the decrease in the population, men here being scarred by the government, the corruption of the government. In the minorities case, how Joe Biden years ago passed a bill saying, yeah, if you sell crack, which is shaved cocaine, which has far less cocaine in it, you get more time without seeing a judge or a case for selling crack than selling coke, which is pure cocaine. You know what I'm saying? So it's happening, guys. But this has been hold the truth hostage, where if the truth was so important, wouldn't negotiate with lies. Also, please support my Kickstarter. You know what I'm saying? Support my Kickstarter, Show Enough Rivals. Please support that. It's really gonna help me out. Support Show Enough Rivals on Kickstarter. And, let's prove that, we do a lot more than just talk about society and these issues. But, but thank you, and y'all have a good one. They said the truth won't survive beside the lies that maintain the decaying faces of this place.